the single most important thing and the most valuable thing I've ever learned is the power of forgiveness. It is the single most powerful psychological tool we have at our disposal. And I like to distinguish it from a religious thing or even a spiritual thing. It is a psychological thing. When you learn to forgive, it lifts the weight of a lifetime from our minds. It frees us to enjoy other people and life in general. Um, and and again, we talk about the ego and how humans have been, they're aggressive and they're capable of great love and abundance, and also great viciousness and destruction. And we're born with both of those. And by giving into the ego, we end up repeating these self-sabotaging patterns. We question our self-worth, and we let outside influence set off rage and disappointment, unhappiness, anger, prejudice, disappointment. They're all like, and we all do this, and I did it. I went through, my sister challenged me to go through one day. Boy, and if there's anything I'd like to challenge anybody to do, is one day. Set aside this as a mission tomorrow. It's a little late in the day, maybe it's morning for some of us, but go through one day without having any judgments, and you'll learn very rapidly how the mind is programmed to judge so many things. I was able to pull it off because I was determined. It's like, look, I want to make myself better. I want to improve myself. But when I challenge people to do this, and I've done it to hundreds of people, I got to say maybe 3% of the people ever make it through the day with this. So, and what I learned was, anger and prejudice and disappointment, they're like, and judgments in particular, they're like stones you pick up and you put in a bag and you carry around with you wherever you go, and we like to collect them, right? We collect these judgment stones, and they begin to weigh us down, and they slow us down, and they bring us down, and they can literally crush us. And so, and you can see people like that. We all know people that are, they just have so many woes because they just carry so many judgments with them. And the way our thoughts affect our emotions are really clear if we simply pay attention to our thoughts, right? So that's the value of going through a day trying not to judge anything. I remember telling myself, I'm going to go, I avoided the news, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That's one of the things that made me judge. And
darn it, Gary, I'm judging it already. I'm starting to think in my head, that's going to be hard to do. Like,
yep. Yeah,
so yeah,
it is hard to do, but what I would say to myself, and they're going to come up if you accept this challenge and you go through one day without trying to judge, something's going to come up and you judge it and you go, you know what, I'm not going to get pissed off at this guy that just pulled out in front of me, or they just said this mean thing, or just said this political thing I don't agree with. I'll reserve that until tomorrow. I'll remember to get pissed off at this guy tomorrow, but right now I'm not going to judge it. And that, Matt, that actually happened before I came across Nightingale-Conant. My sister, I believe it was that day changed my life. I learned what happiness was that day. It completely transformed me from a introverted hypochondriac to a completely different individual. I learned what happiness was, and I actually went through an entire week without judging everything, and I mean, it just completely opened my eyes. So going back to love and the self-love, so if you can learn to forgive people their past mistakes, and many of us, we like to our parents, for example, kind of shape the way we think, and we hold these grievances against our parents. From some of us do.
I was just going to say, sorry to interrupt you, but when I got to Nightingale, I had a lot of grudges against my father, who had already passed away. So there was no reason to be, I couldn't even talk to him anymore. He was gone, and I still had all this anger. And I learned this forgiveness meditation, and one day it was like literally a weight came off of my chest. I swear to God, it felt like a pop came, like it popped and it came off of me. It was like just my whole soul was lighter after
Wow.
truly forgiving my father, like 100%. Like I love my dad. Like there's no anger at all. Like he did his best. And that was the realization I had to come to. Like, you can't compare people. They did their best, you know, and so yeah, it's just so huge to be
Yeah.
able to forgive and also go back into your inner child, like because if you had a traumatic childhood, that could be what's really blocking your success.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's you know, one of the things I recommend to some people that really are hard on themselves. And it's funny because I found that it was much easier to learn to forgive other people than it was to forgive
Me
myself.
too.
And so I remember I would recommend, look, go find some old pictures of yourself when you were a child and put them up and look at that child and learn to love that child. And that kind of softens and you know it helps again reprogram your mind.